Well, let's bring in Nick Cater from the Menzies Research Centre. Nick, the pain continues for people in Queensland. There are still thousands of houses without electricity. Temperatures in the southeast hit 36 degrees today, so those who don't have electricity have no aircon. And the Bureau are warning of dangerous, severe storms for tomorrow. Can it get any worse?
It's hot in Queensland in summer, right? And you raised some very valid points about the Bureau of Meteorology's failure to predict this. I know these sort of storm systems can be a little bit unpredictable, but they've got to do better than this, haven't they? And the people without power, James, I mean, 20,000 people, I think, still without power because power lines have come down because of the weather. And yet we're going to build another 10,000 kilometres of power lines to keep the grid alive when we go to renewables. The whole thing is illogical, and I don't think there's a single engineer within 10 kilometres when they made some of these decisions.
I was going to ask you on that. Once we're 100% renewables, we've got wind turbines everywhere and solar panels. I mean, in Queensland and especially up north, how are they going to survive severe storms, which, as you said, are a regular part of summer in Australia?
And they're going to get worse, apparently, so we're told, right? Climate change means we're going to have more extreme weather events and more storms, more power lines coming down. I mean, the number of power line failures in Queensland in the last few days, and indeed before that in central and northern Queensland, has been huge, and they're struggling to deal with them. And that is just what happens. Power lines are vulnerable, and yet we are going to build even more, apparently. I think, James, it just goes through the obvious point that the renewable-only future is not going to work. And Queensland, you know, I'm just looking on the National Energy Market site just now, $15,000 a megawatt hour is what they were paying half an hour ago on the wholesale market in Queensland. Luckily, Queensland can survive because it's still got a lot of coal, but all that's going to be phased out by the middle of the 2030s. And then what? It just really is unrealistic and unthought through what the government is planning.
Just staying on the tragedy in Queensland with the weather there, people on the southeast, especially in Mount Tamborine on the Gold Coast, have been critical of not receiving help. The SES are doing their best, but many have called for the Army to be out removing trees from the road, helping people. I just want to get your thoughts, because this has been an ongoing debate. Should the military be utilised in times of disasters, or should they focus specifically on defence? And if that's what they're doing, then don't we need some sort of other institution or organisation to help in the events such as we're seeing right now?
Possibly we do, and I think the way that we've used the Army is just to fill in the gaps. I mean, ridiculously, of course, during COVID, we had Army officers patrolling borders between Queensland and New South Wales. That is ludicrous. That is a ludicrous waste of defence staff. We could valuably use it elsewhere. Yeah, sure, you know, there's a training element to it, but I just don't think the Army or the military are there just to go out and pull down broken trees or whatever. You know, we need proper SES arrangements to do that. But let's face it, James, they're always going to be stretched at a time like this. You can never provision for enough people to cover these emergencies. And this is when, of course, the wonderful thing you see is that people in local communities start pitching in and doing things for themselves. And Queenslanders are pretty good at that.